Aaron Woodruff from the University of Florida Museum of Natural History. He is one of the managers of the vertebrate paleontology collection. And now that you guys have all seen the book, I was reading in a bio about him online, and it said that it took him a whole several months to put the book together.
What?
Dr. Bob is one of the smartest people I know, and it takes him years to put one of those books together, and they're like pamphlets compared to this. So I don't know how you did it in months, but you must have worked through weekends and holidays.
Yes.
And that's a tremendous amount of information. We appreciate you coming up from Gainesville, so come on up and we'll start your presentation.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello, sir. Yes, I enjoyed the story. Actually did some field work in Natural Fact Cave, so it was great. All right, so as stated, my name is Aaron Woodruff, and I wrote the book Prehistoric World, and to give you a little bit of background information about myself, I'm from Columbus, Ohio originally, and I grew up mostly in Georgia. I got my bachelor's in biology at Fort Valley State University in Middle Georgia, and for my master's degree, I went to East Tennessee State, where I majored in geosciences with a concentration in paleontology. And currently, I am a collections manager at the Florida Museum of Natural History. Okay. Why did I choose paleontology as a career? Well, I first became interested in paleontology when I was a really little kid, like at age 3, and what first got me hooked were as tends to be the case for most kids. Dinosaur books, toys, cartoons, movies, etc. I was 5 years old when Jurassic Park came out in 1993, and that further inspired me to learn more about dinosaurs in particular. And in preschool and kindergarten, I would tell everybody that I wanted to be a paleontologist when I grew up, which was funny because not even most of the adults that I came in contact with knew what a paleontologist was. Well, as I mentioned, most of my younger days, I was really into dinosaurs. I knew that things that mammoths and saber-toothed cats existed, but I was pretty much hooked on dinosaurs until 2001 when the documentary Walking with Beasts first aired, and I found a new love. It just astounded me, all these new and really interesting fossil mammals that I'd never heard of. Right, like I had never. I heard a little bit about the giant rhino Paraceratherium on screen now, but it did something for me to see it in motion, and I didn't know what Entelodon was, and nor did I know what a hyaenodon was. That started me down on a prehistoric mammal rabbit hole that I'm very much still going down. As a kid, I spent many hours in libraries, be it the public library or in the school library, just looking at books on animals, both modern and extinct. So animals have just always been a passion of mine, really probably because of all the dinosaur books I'd read earlier in my life. I really wanted to. I really felt like I just wanted to write a book. You know what I mean? Like I would draw like little pictures and write quick descriptions about them and staple the papers together. It was really cute. Which it was also around the time I started to get an interest in. Though I didn't know it had a formal name at the time. I started to get into paleo art, which more on that later. So this is Evan, Evan Johnson Ransom. He is he's currently a PhD student at University of Chicago, and he does his research on theropod dinosaurs, particularly tyrannosaurs. And he was the author of Dinosaur World, which was the book that preceded mine. And after he sort of finished, he thought about me. He knew that I researched prehistoric mammals, and so he just hit me up on Facebook one day, and he said, "Hi Aaron, so the HarperCollins is interested in getting a book out on prehistoric mammals. I thought I'd ask if you'd be interested in heading that up, and keep in mind I've always wanted to write a book on prehistoric mammals. So I was like, yeah. So sign me up. He relayed that to the editors at HarperCollins, and one of them reached out to me and got me all set with the paperwork. And told me like the particulars of the project, and so a few goals I had when writing. I really wanted to write a book where that anybody could enjoy regardless of age. Like I figured little kids would probably appreciate the pictures more, and older kids and adults would get more out of the information presented. If you've I'm sure some of you who've picked up the book have looked at the beginning. I worked on a little bit of background information of like basic mammalogy. I tried to. You guys can tell me how I did, but I tried to make it equally accessible to both newcomers and professionals. So, and I really another goal was I wanted to highlight animals that people had never heard of, those animals that typically don't get much spotlight. Most people know what a mammoth is, right? But you might be really hard pressed to find a lot of people who know what Patriofelis is. Pictured over there. And this is the basic layout of the book, barring the full page spreads that had images like those, and then with focusing on the animal with and a background of the habitat it was in it. I started writing in late January. Late July. I moved wrong day month. I started writing in July, and originally the contract wanted me to be done in October. About 3 months, right? And they wanted me to have this done in 3 months. Look at the. Have you seen how big this thing is? This is it's like a weapon, right? So it became pretty obvious within the first month and a half or so that there was no way that was going to happen. So I ended up just having to push pushed the due date back several times. Ended up. Yeah. What was originally, to be fair, I never read the book before. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. What originally was slated to be done in 3 months, it ended up taking 7. I ended up finishing on my birthday, funnily enough, March 24th, and yeah, it was tough. Like I said there, the memes say it all. All the writing and working a full-time job on top of that, it was a lot, and I definitely sacrificed my weekends and holidays to put it together. But sure enough, it did come together, and I'm pretty happy with the finished project. Although if I could go back in time, I would try to negotiate for maybe give me a year to write. that sounds fair, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So when I was when I was writing, I provided like general information, like the scientific name, the age in which the animals lived in, distribution where the animals lived, and size and diet. And I tried to come up with like at minimum two sentence descriptions for each of them. And on some of these, you can kind of get a feel for get a feel for a little bit of humor. I was trying to work in there, or just covertly giving my opinions on certain scientific publications that I was referencing. For example, this guy here, Simba Kubwa, it's a giant hyaenodont carnivore from Africa, and it was the original paper that described it. It gave an estimated body mass of 1,500 kilograms, or a little over 3,000 pounds, and this was based on comparisons with I believe big cats, jaws and teeth. They kind of scaled it up. Issue with that is the hyaenodont proportions are vastly different than cats. So that like their heads, for example, are proportionately a lot bigger by comparison. So that model doesn't really work. So I came up with a more reasonable estimate of 800 approaching 900 pounds. So about the size of a really big polar bear. So not about rhino size, but still really big. Also, for a lot of these mammals, like I mentioned, they're really poorly known. There's sparse information. So on those instances, I would have to come up with details on about like either the inspiration for their names, how they were named, or giving information on like the people who found them, the circumstances and whatnot. Like this one, for example, it turns out that etymology is really sort of intricate, so that ended up just being the description. And some of the some of these are actually kind of funny. So for example, this cat up here, the genus name is Yoshi. So this genus was named after not the video game character Yoshi, rather it was named after the pet cat of one of the authors of the paper. By the way, this is not Yoshi. It's just a random cat that I found on Google Images. and then probably my favorite one, Crash Bandicoot. This is a real name that is in a scientific paper that I just found that wonderful. The genus name is Crash. Species name is Bandicoot. Okay. Julius Csotonyi, I believe, is how you pronounce his name. That's how a lot of people struggle with his last name, but I'm confident that's how you pronounce it. So he was the paleoartist who did all of the artwork of both the preceding Dinosaur World and Prehistoric World. He's a if you all of you are into paleontology, so I'm almost certain you've come across his artwork before. He's really prolific, and his work is really impressive. I mean, when you look at that. So it was, of course, being in the paleo art myself, I knew of him. So it was a real honor to get to work alongside him on this project. And I also sort of functioned as basically an art consultant in this project, since I was pretty well versed in a lot of the animals in which I was writing about. So I was able to provide helpful information to Julius about how certain animals should be depicted, So I'm certain certain things like these. This is in the Oreodont Marichias major. It's known to have ossified vocal cords. So similar to modern howler monkeys. So like that gives you the impression that vocalizations were very important to this animal in life. So I thought it was important for Julius to have him performing some kind of vocalization. I just emailed him saying, hey, you should draw a howling. And so that's how we depicted it, which I really like. And with other things like I had to point out so little details like for example, modern kangaroos that they have the hopping mode of locomotion. And when you look at fossil kangaroos, it turns out that not all of them hopped. So some of them, like this short-faced kangaroo, that they actually took like regular alternating strides, like humans or birds. So I made sure that was depicted. And this is actually a quadrupedal kangaroo. Whose name escapes me. Sorry about that. I just remembered. Protendodon. That's the name of this kangaroo. So originally it was depicted hopping, and I just told Julius, no, it has really long arms. It should be shown in a quadrupedal stance. So he made that correction. And these are a couple of Julius's reconstructions that I'm really proud of, because he actually he actually took inspiration from some of my artwork. So this is a pristine Eurus that I drew in 2016, I think. Yeah. He basically used my reconstruction as a reference for his, and this is an Anthracoboon. It's an early mammal related to things like tapirs and horses. He found this reconstruction that I posted on DeviantArt, and he incorporated that into his reconstruction. Okay, so as I may or may not have mentioned before, a lot of these fossil mammals are known from really scarce fossils. Like a lot of them are known from just like partial jaws, partial skulls, or even isolated teeth. So to kind of get around that challenge, what was necessary for some of them was to basically take a model from a close relative who's known for more complete material, and basically make little tweaks to it for the more sparse taxon. And these are these two here. This is the giant beaver, and this is the protoceratops and Cyptosaurus. These were some of the later the later artwork that Julius did towards the end, and they're really good reconstructions. I just realized that they're kind of shown in the wrong habitat, which I pointed out, but it was too late to make the change, unfortunately. I know for a fact that Julius was under as much stress, if not more, than I was in this project. But yeah, the giant beaver should be shown in like a more open marsh environment, and Cyptosaurus was probably living in more open open woodland habitat.
Maybe they just needed to change the scenery also.
Yeah, there you go. And just walk you through some of my favorite examples of Julius's work. So I love a good entelodont depiction. Entelodont representation has gotten better in recent times, but certainly back in the day, you'd often see entelodonts with really shrink-wrapped faces, like almost like all their teeth were exposed. They didn't have cheeks really, and so that's why I really like the way. I really like the way Julius's entelodonts turned out. And this one here. So this is Homo floresiensis. It's commonly referred to as the Hobbit, and it's shown, and he's shown hiding from a Komodo dragon. And I'm looking at this, and I'm like, Julius, is this a Lord of the Rings reference? he never told me one way or another, but I mean, come on, like how can you not see it, right? So, and this guy here is one of my favorites. This is the sperm whale Leviathan. Well, one of the fun facts I mentioned in the book, it's got the largest non-tusk teeth of any known animal. So it's got a mouth full of these things that were just built for biting into other whales. And it's very often you come across paleo art of this thing taking on megalodon. And but I really started to appreciate the depictions where Julius depicted both the focus animal alongside other animals that Earth coexisted in. For example, this is the larger Procestidian dinotherium, and it lived at the same time as zebras and also some of our early hominin ancestors, Australopithecus. And this is one of the dwarf elephants, Paleoartist falconeri, and shown alongside a couple of swans, just to give you an idea of how just like what I mean when I say dwarf. Like we're talking like a sheep-sized elephant. This is Paraceratherium here. Shown with a few wolf-sized carnivores rushing to get out of his way. And just to give you a really idea of how big this thing is, here's another image I found just to give you a better idea. So that's an African bush elephant, and to see how big this thing is by comparison. This is the Shasta ground sloth, Nothotheriopsis, and I really just like this depiction because how often do you see ground sloths in a snowy environment? Like not very often. So I thought well, we know that they must have experienced snow at some point. So just really nice to see that. And so some of my favorite animals to study are carnivorans, and by far my favorite family of carnivorans are the bear dogs. So it was really something special to see all these the different bear dog reconstructions that Julius turned out, just to give you an idea of just how diverse the family is. You got some that were some small ones that were kind of like weasel or raccoon sized. You had some that were more fox or coyote like. You have this guy here, Amita-Cyon, which was built like a tank. Basically, it was really powerfully built. You had some that were longer legged, more lightly built, adapted for pursuit hunting. And you have this guy here, Megara-Cyon, which was a jaguar-sized carnivore that lived in Spain. And this is the primate, the Therapithecus brumti, and I like this one just because Julius took the time to draw not just one but an entire troop, which I know must have taken a lot of work. So mad props for that. This is So this is the bat volcanops. It's a terrestrial bat from New Zealand, and in the background there is something called the St. Baffin's mammal. So it's we don't know which group of mammals that this thing is closely related to. We just know that it's probably a holdover from it's almost certainly a holdover from the Mesozoic. Back when New Zealand was part of Gondwana, the southern continent, and yeah. So far, this is New Zealand's only known terrestrial mammal. So I thought that was important to include. And this is a mammal from the early Jurassic, Microdocodon, I believe, and it's got micro in the name, so you know it's tiny. I like the way Julius depicted it here. Just kind of hanging out on a leaf, just to give you an idea of the scale. And last but not least, we have a really tired Neanderthal, which funny enough, this is again one of the last reconstructions that Julius turned out, and he said that he thought it'd be really cool to show a Neanderthal yawning, because no one had ever done that before, and this is just me kind of reading subtext, and I'm just like, no, you're tired. I get it. Trust me, I'm tired. I'm tired too. It's okay. So that's about pretty much it for the book talk. I'm sure a lot of you have questions. So if you'll allow me, I'll just take the time to do a little bit of shameless self-promotion. Like I said, I am a paleoartist, and recently I've been out of it for a while, but I've recently kind of gotten back into it. So right now I'm kind of working on I'm working on depictions of all of the big cats from Ice Age North America. And what's on screen now are some work in progress reconstructions of Homotherium and the American lion. And in the previous slide, you saw my jaguar, and pretty much I'm planning to kind of make this more of an active venture. But like I do take commissions. This is a little something I'm working on for the Children's Museum of Indianapolis. That they want me to draw a dinosaur and a little mammal from the late Jurassic. And yeah, so this is where you can find me right now. I'm Cenozoic King on Instagram and Blue Sky, and I'll definitely be posting more artwork and having some announcements in the near future.
So we're gonna do some show and tell now. Imogen and Atticus.
So, today I thought I would bring 2 of my megalodon shards I found at Peace River. So, the first one is pretty big. I don't know much about fossils, so it kind of cut him off. So it's hard to decipher out. This part is the tooth, and that's the root. The root-tooth ratio is really, really off, and it's extremely dented, but it's still a shard. And then we got this one. It's in pretty good condition. I don't know what the line down the middle is, but it has pretty good ridges. Like, the serrations are very visible and they hurt. And I like this one because it looks like it has like a stripe down the middle where the dentition, I'm gonna call it for now, was lost over the millennia that it was tumbling around in a river. The serrations are extremely prominent, like she said. The backside has not lost any parts of the tooth at all. It's actually a really good find. That's it.
Thank you, Imogen and Attica. So I am disappointed. You said you know nothing about fossils. You've sat in that front row since you've been watching Cinderella dress here. Pick it up. Jacob, come on up.
All right, well, I have a couple things that I unfortunately did not find myself. I should be so lucky. But I do think that they're very interesting because I don't think they're what they were advertised to be, or at least there's something that I got that I don't think the information is correct. One was interesting bit of skull with a molar in there. This came in a batch of carnivore jaws that I got that originated in the Siberia region of Russia. Most of them were hyena. This one is not hyena. I'm not entirely certain what this is from. I'm about 95% certain it's bear. I was hoping that because we have so many people here that are very familiar with Ice Age stuff that I could get someone to take a look at it. The reason why I suspect it's bear is because the shape of the molar, that kind of elongated shape reminds me of a carnassial, which you see on the carnivorous animals like bears, cats, wolves, hyenas, so on and so forth. But it's been ground down like it's been munching on plant material. And when I think of large carnivore, because this is a huge molar, munching on plant material, I always think of bear. And I know that, in the Russian material, it's not that uncommon to get cave bear material. So I was hoping for a second opinion on that. The other one was sold to me as a meg. At first glance, it looks like a meg until you look at the corners and see, well, cusps. And I think this might be a really big Csotonyi. It's very odd. It's a very interesting piece. There's a very pronounced cusp on this side. And on this side, there's a very clear divot where there was a cusp, although it got knocked off at some point. If it turns out to just be a funny looking meg, that's fine. It's still a really beautiful tooth. But I do think it would be really cool if it wound up being a Csotonyi, just because you almost never see chubs this big. So, two things I was kind of hoping to get someone else to take a look at.
Barbara Fife.
This is something I found a long time ago. It was in Arcadia, and there was a shell pit that you used to be able to go to. And I went there one day, and this was sitting there.
Oh.
And it took a while before I figured out what it was. Anybody want to take a guess? I know
Something
you
named
know.
mastodon.
No, not mastodon.
Ground sloth.
It looks like an earring.
It is
An axis.
a
No.
ankle bone of a big sloth, a really big sloth. Yeah, and it's probably gonna go to the university because they don't have any that are this large. So anyway, but it's just such a unique looking thing. So. Yeah, that's amazing. Unfortunately, the shell pit owner told me that the day before we went down there that somebody had come in a pickup truck and loaded up a whole bunch of big bones. Great, so it was probably the rest of the sloth. Anyway.
Joe Brannon.
So today was the show in Sanford, so I don't have a lot to bring, just some small stuff, and I had to hurriedly wipe the price tags off of them. But these are some auriculatus I found in the Swanee a couple weeks ago. I went with some friends, and I went with Sam, who usually comes to these meetings. These are the 40 million year old ancestor of the megalodon tooth, or the megalodon shark, and they have these really pronounced cusps. Then they gradually lose the cusps and end up like a Chobotensis megalodon with no cusps. But I got nice glossy black one, and I got a couple greens, and this one was pretty impressive, nice size, really, there's so much sand constantly moving in that river that it gives all the fossils in it a super natural high gloss polish that's really pretty. And this one's probably, just for completeness, this one's really nice. It's a nice broad blade with both big old cusps. So these are rare as hen's teeth, so I was pretty happy to find 3 in one trip. They're hard to come by.
Ron Carlson.
That's what I heard.
I go out west twice a year, and we do mostly Oligocene, Rural Formation and Chadron Formation for mammal stuff. And the one ranch we've been collecting on now, we've hit an area that's Chadron Formation, and it's Titanosphere, laying on top of Titanosphere on top of it. It must have been a river system because it's high energy, everything's very broken up. But we are getting some fairly complete pieces. And this one was broken, and I fixed it somewhat. His lower jaw, a big Titanosphere. It's got nasty iron staining on it, stuff that I don't like, but anyway, they're still
Red
cool.
looks good on it.
Yeah, I mean,
If you don't want it, I'll take it.
it takes a long time. It was way redder than that. It takes a long time to get it off that it looks that good. But when I was out there a couple weeks ago, I showed this to several people, and so far the consensus is tortoise egg.
Oh, what?
I know people that have found them, and we compared pictures and everything, and it was all by itself eroding out of the rural formation where it's. I thought at first maybe it was concretion because there is calcite and mineralization and stuff in there, but the consensus is, I hope, a tortoise egg, which would be a first for me. But then we also have access to a ranch that is Pierre Shale, which is late Cretaceous, probably 75 to 80 million years old. And the 3 people I go on the trip with are not that excited about it. It's no ammonites, no bacillites, no shells of any kind, but there are fish. It's Diphactinus is the species. They got enormous. It looks like a tarpon that has barracuda teeth. And so we always find vertebral columns from the fish, but so there could be other things there. So I pushed this year to spend an entire day on that ranch instead of just our half a day that we usually do. And so when we were out there a couple weeks ago, the first thing I found 2 sets of fish vertebrae, but then looked down and thought, I can't believe I'm seeing that, but I know what this is. It's a Cretaceous sea turtle skull and lower jaw. No sign of a shell anywhere near it, which is weird how it lost its head and it fossilized. But yeah, it's because this was all marine, the inner seaway during the Cretaceous, that was all salt water. So it's a Cretaceous sea turtle of some type. And so then I started working down further and noticed something coming out of the shell. The shell is jet black, and it turns to crumble as it gets weathered. And you get back further in, it's more platy, like you would think shale. But it degrades very quickly and is filled with selenite, which, if you don't know, it's a form of gypsum, which from a distance, it's beautiful because you have these beautiful black buttes. And when the sun shines on it, it looks like 1 billion diamonds, just sparkling. And I've collected the selenite. I should have brought some. There's different crystal forms, but something, I said, that's different texture. And it was vertebrate beginning to erode out. And when I looked at them, I said, okay, that's not a fish vertebrae. You know, you could see it was, you know, kind of ball and socket, which means reptilian. And so I live in a small house and I have a lot of fossils. So I've always, Crystal Laurie's asked me, several people have asked me, you need to come dinosaur hunting. And I always said, I can't fit dinosaurs in my house. Well, I found a mosasaur. And it started, I guess, about hips is where everything from the hips to the tail had eroded out. Was long gone. And I started following the vertebral column in and then hit ribs and dug that out further and dug back. And then there's a piece that comes off to the side that when I looked on the one side now, there are teeth. And I just got the big jacket. The jacket was about 400 pounds. Luckily, one of our group couldn't come, so the other fellow brought his nephew, who's 22. Never would have got this if Jake hadn't been on the trip because it was over 400 pounds. The jacket's 4 feet. I took some of the vertebral column out in sections, but once I hit the rib cage, I didn't want to break that up. And so it was straight up about maybe 100 yards, straight 70-degree angle, straight up a butte. But otherwise, it was a half mile either direction over terrain. So, but we got it out. And this was a piece I brought back with me and started cleaning up. It's part of one of the paddles, the little finger bones. But as you can see, the preservation tends to be really bad. Pure shale, the bone gets infiltrated with the selenite crystal, and it just really punky. But fingers crossed, the bones themselves, the vertebrae, are pretty solid. And I could see on some of them where the all of the processes are on them, and they seem to be well preserved too. The entire thing is encased in a sandstone nodule. There's no sandstone anywhere except right around the bone. I could follow the skeleton by following the edges of the sandstone, which was also a double blessing because I didn't have to jacket it. Because when I finished getting it dug up, and Jake says, "Are we gonna plaster this?" And I said, "If we plaster it, it ain't coming with us because that's another 200 pounds." So luckily we did not have to plaster it, and we're able to drag it out of there in one piece. But now becomes I can't imagine how many months it's going to take to prep it. But I'm going to try prepping it from the sandstone side because it seems like the preservation of the bone is better against the sandstone, or where the bone's touching the shale, it tends to be more infiltrated with the selenite. So hopefully the top side's going to be, I know part of one of the leg bones and the shoulder blade was exposed where the sandstone peeled off, and it's shiny black. So hopefully it's got better mineralization. But what I'm going to do with an 8-foot mosasaur, I have no idea.
Do you know what kind of mosasaur it was?
I don't know, because the skull, I didn't even know there was a skull until my friend brought it down from Atlanta. He lives in Atlanta and drives out. So he brought it down yesterday. So I just literally poked around on the, like I say, it's a big round jacket, or concretion with vertebral column with all the ribs, and then it makes a turn, and I didn't think it was big enough to be a skull. I thought, oh, the skull's missing, but there's teeth in there, so it's hard to say until you really get the skull exposed, and a lot of times they're squished. I was communicating with Frank Garcia at the time, and he goes, well, I'll send you a picture of one I have, and it's just...
Were you able to get a good look at the teeth?
No, they're not, the ones I saw are not in good shape. They were more selenite than they were enamel. So I said, well, it is what it is. I'm just happy, hopefully it's got a skull.
Lawrence and Katora, Cotton, have a presentation for us.
Well, I figured that since it's starting to get into Halloween season again, I might entertain you all with a scary story. Or you might find it uncomfortable, whatever it is. I hope you enjoy it. Let me see. Come down to Honeywood's Natural History Museum. We've got nearly almost every great fossil under the sun. We've got dinosaurs, mammals, ancient fish. What else? You could put in ghosts, Larry. Oh, do you have to bring that up again? Hey, you're the one who brought it up, you know. The museum is haunted. Come on down if you want to be spooked by the ancient dead. You know, just because you haven't experienced something scary doesn't mean you have to go rag on the rest of us about it. Until you experience the supernatural or paranormal or whatever for yourself, you've got nothing to say. Yeah, especially since you're the one who keeps going on and on about aliens invading our world. Well, at least there's proof that alien life exists out there, unlike ghosts. Well, there's some things in the world that can't be explained, so it's always best to keep an open mind. Whatever. Anyways, I'm going to be gone for a week or so. Where are you going? Camping? Ah, that's nice. You're doing some local camping around here? No, I'm headed out west to northern Wyoming to camp out. Some place in the mountains named after a sheep. Let's see, Mouflon, Saltbolt, Bighorn. Yeah, that's it. Well, I hope you enjoy yourself. Oh, I will. And don't worry, if I see Bigfoot or a Wendigo, I'll tell them you said I. And, oh, gee, thanks. And we'll remember to save some aluminum foil hats when you get back. Out of all of us who worked at the Honeywood's Natural History Museum, Cole Minot was probably the most skeptical of us all. While he did believe in aliens true, he found it difficult to believe in things that you couldn't physically see with your eyes. When I had brought up to everyone that the museum was haunted by the ghosts of prehistoric animals, he was the one who laughed out loud the most. Our fourth member, Ross Winans, wasn't sure what to believe. On the one hand, he wanted to believe us because he thought it would be cool to be haunted by prehistoric creatures. But on the other hand, he wanted to believe Cole because he thought he could use some support. Yeah, helpful as always. Anyway, a couple of days later, we were surprised that Cole had come back early from his trip to Wyoming, and he looked shaken up. What is it? What's wrong, Cole? Frank asked. You look like you've seen a ghost. Well, I didn't exactly see what you would call ghosts, but I did experience something. What sort of something? And this is what he told us. When he got to the campsite in northern Wyoming where he was staying in the Bighorn Mountains, Cole was all ready to get set up. The problem was several other people had the same idea of going camping and relaxing as him. So instead of staying in the regular campsite, which you should do, he decided to go off the beaten trail, as it were, and do some solo camping far away from everyone. He figured that he wouldn't be bothering anyone, and more importantly, no one would be bothering him. No noisy kids, no barking dogs, no parents sitting on their butts doing nothing. Just some peace and quiet. He walked for a couple of hours deep into the wilderness until he came to a base of a plateau. There's a nice spot. He set up camp. The first 2 days were relatively normal. He hiked, walked around, did a couple of fishing, and took photographs of what he saw. It was on the third day that things started to get strange. While he was walking out in the woods, Cole suddenly had the feeling of being watched by something. He couldn't see what it was at first, but when he looked through the trees, he swore he could see some kind of big cat of some kind. It was hard to get a good look at it, but it had the shape and size of a cougar. But when he looked closer at it, it almost looked like it had spots on its body. That's strange. What sort of mountain lion has spots? Before he could take out his camera and snap a picture of it, it was gone. Now that was also strange. Sure, big cats were stealthy animals, but one shouldn't be able to disappear that quickly. The day passed, and soon night fell. He built a fire, roasted some food, and listened to all the nighttime noises, sounds of owls hooting, various nighttime birds, and insects. It was nice and peaceful. But thinking about it, it was a bit strange being all alone by yourself in the wilderness. It almost seems as if no one else exists except you when you're by yourself. As Cole went into his tent that night, he wasn't sure if he would ever get any sleep. But soon, Cole wasn't sure what had awoken him, but it sounded like a voice. That's strange. I thought it was the only one who came out this far. Oh, hello! Please! Oh! Okay, he definitely heard that. He stuck his head out of the tent and grabbed his flashlight. He couldn't see anyone, but there was definitely a voice, and it sounded like it was in some kind of pain. That wasn't the same voice as before. Were there more than one person out here? Have they been attacked by a wild animal? Or were they stuck somewhere? Soon more voices popped up in different tones and pitches. Hello! Please! Hello! Can someone get me out? Please! Help! 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 Please! Hello! Now Cole was starting to get nervous. As he looked around, his flashlight caught the sight of something at the top of the plateau. It was the same type of cat he had seen earlier, but in the light of the flashlight, he could make it out more easily. It was cougar-sized and shaped, but had distinctive brownish cheetah-like spots all over its body. Before he could say anything, the cheetah disappeared. And then, that's when he said, it got worse. Several loud screams, plus several big thuds echoed through the air. Cole panicked, ducked back into his tent, and cowered with the blankets and pillow over his head. The screams continued for several more minutes. To Cole, they felt like hours. And then, once they had reached the high crescendo, they stopped. Cole was definitely not getting back to sleep now. Without saying a word, he quickly gathered up all his things, packed them up, and got out of there as quick as he could. This little camping trip of his was over. When Cole told the rest of us this, of course Frank laughed at him. A little bit of payback but I put a stop to that. Now, judging by the map of Wyoming and where he said he was camping, I pinned it to where he was in the Bighorn Mountains. And not far from where he had set up his camp, there was a cave, a large 12 by 15 foot cave that was 85 feet deep into the ground. It was called Natural Trap Cave, and deep inside were the fossilized remains of all sorts of animals that fell to their deaths: bears, wolves, camels, horses, deer, mice, even mammoths. And the most common fossil of all was the American cheetah. I can't really explain what he saw, but I think what he experienced were the cries of the trapped animals who had survived the fall into the cave and were desperately trying to cry for a way out. And that worries me, because it's one thing if a natural history museum is haunted, but it also gave me thought. What if the fossil sites themselves hold something paranormal? The end. Of course, the inspiration for this story did come from Natural Trap Cave, which is a real place. First learned about while watching a BBC series called Prehistoric America, which talked about Ice Age animals. And in the beginning of the episode, which talked about the Great Plains, it did a reconstruction of a bison falling into the cave and a short-faced bear following the scent of the dead animal into the cave and becoming trapped itself. And of course, the other inspiration was Joe's discovery of the sinkhole. And it just made me think, how many of you have actually ever been fossil hunting in caves or have been in caves in general? How many of you? Yeah. Now, how many of you have been cave diving? Yeah. So you don't need me to tell you that going into caves is pretty scary and dangerous, especially if you get trapped. And in many cases, people who do get trapped in caves never come back out. And so imagine yourself as an animal during the Ice Age, coming across this cave, which you wouldn't be able to see until you were right on it, and suddenly falling until you hit the bottom. And if you died from the fall, at least your death was quick. But if you survived it, you would find yourself trapped with no way out and no food and no water. And generally falling and being trapped in somewhere dark and wet and scary is pretty terrifying in and of itself. Now, as far as I know, no human remains have been found inside that cave. And I hope that none ever will.